Hi everybody, Andrew here with Just Add Beats. Today we're going to review how to use Soundtrap to produce your own music. We're going to start by going to soundtrap.com in either Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome. Then you go to log in. Type in your login under login with email. So first it's the email, then it's your password, then you click log in. And now we have the projects window. This is where you can see all of your projects and projects that somebody shared with you. So for example, DMs shared this project with me, my best. Projects that don't have a name next to them, those are my projects. So if we click Enter Studio, we can start a new project. And it's going to ask us if we want to start a music project or a podcast. If you're just recording your voice, use podcast. Since we're going to be producing a beat today and adding a vocal where we'll sing or we'll rap, we'll use music. First, let's learn how to add a track. To add a vocal track, we click Add New Track, Voice and Mic. And then from this drop down, if you have a USB microphone plugged into your computer, you can select which microphone you want to use right here. If you're just using the computer's microphone, you don't have to do anything, but make sure that you have headphones plugged in so that if you're recording your voice, the music isn't also getting recorded at the same time as your voice. So we pick our microphone here. I can see that my microphone is working because the meter is moving right here. Hello, hello. And so I can close out of this. That's my vocal track. Next, I'm going to add a drum pattern. And before I do that, I'm going to resize this little loop area up here to be between 1 and 3. And what that's going to do, I'm going to turn my metronome on. That lets me loop this section over and over again. So if I turn this off, it'll keep going. But if I turn it on, it loops over and over. So now that it's looping over and over again, I'm going to go to Patterns Beatmaker. And I'm going to start drawing in my drum beat. So I'm going to draw in my kick on the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. I'm going to put my snare on the 2 and the 4. And then I'm going to put my hi-hat on every other box. This. Now it sounds like this. Okay. I could keep drawing it, but instead of drawing it over and over again, I'm just going to loop this section. So I got in and out of that menu by clicking on this X right here. If I want to go back to it, I just click the drum and that takes me back to the menu here. Okay. So if things are lit up, that's your drum pattern that you made. If you want to turn something off, you just click the squares to turn them on and off. So let's X out of this and let's use this looper tool, the little circular arrow, to make our beat loop again. There we go. Okay, and if we want to change the sound of the drums, we can click on the drum and we can change the drums right here. We can substitute them right here. Now that I have a drum beat, I'm just going to turn my metronome off so we don't have to listen to it. There we go. Okay, I like that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is add a loop from our loop library. So we'll go to this loops menu. To get in and out of the loops menu, you just click on this music button here. So this is loops. We're going to click on, how about piano? Find a piano clip. Before I find a piano clip, what if I pick a key for my song? How about at the bottom, I can pick, let's say, E minor. If I click on E minor, let's play some of these. And look, I can even pick the scale here if I want to use minor scale. Let's see. Okay, I like this one. I'm going to add it to my session. I just either double tap it like this, click, click, it's added, or I can hit the plus sign and click add new track, and it gets added there. So now if I play this, now you'll notice that my piano loop is shorter than the sample. Let's listen to the sample. Okay, so if I want to use that whole sample, if I don't want it to get cut off, what I can do is go down here, and this little trim tool, this little brackets at the bottom, this lets me drag out the whole length of the sample. See? So that's actually where the sample ends. So for me to be able to use the whole sample, first I'm going to drag my looper tool, and then I'm going to re-loop my drum kit a bunch of times. There we go. So now we have this. I like the way that sounds a lot. Now, just to show you, if I wanted to only use part of the sample, I could do this. I could either trim to that specific part. For example, let's pick this part, and it sounds like this. Now if I re-loop this, I could put this at the beginning, and now it's just going to loop that little part. And it sounds like this. Okay, so if you want to do that, you can, but another way to do it, so this is our whole sample. Go back. Oh, that's right. I trimmed the front of it too. So now I have to go back here and trim the beginning. Sure, that's right. Okay, so it won't go any further in either direction. So that's right. So now I have my sample here. What if I wanted to use just the first part and then cut the second part? I could click on the track I want to cut, hit Control E, and now that, and then delete that part. So Control E lets me cut. And then let's say if I copy it, Control C, and paste it, Control V, right there. Now my beat sounds like this. So that's another option. If I don't like that, I can just hit Control Z to undo everything that I did. So now we're back at the original sample. So just to review those, Control E, click on the item, Control E to cut, delete, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. And you can hold down Control and just hit VVV. And then if I want to undo, Control Z to undo, or you can hit undo up here. There we go. That's how you cut things, cut up the loop, use part of the loop, or use the whole loop. Now we have our drums and we have our loop. Let's record our microphone. So we'll click record, record. Just add beats. There's our vocal part. Just add beats. And I can close this window to give me some more space. And now I'm going to trim the front of my parts because I don't want this like crackling at the beginning. I'm going to take that out and I can zoom in. And look, I can either go like this to trim it. Just add beats. If I want to trim the end, I can trim the end like this. Or I could click on the vocal, hit Control E, and that makes a little cut, and then I can delete that part there. So now I have my vocal track, it's nice and clean. And what if I wanted to add a little fade here? I can click this top corner and fade it in and out. Just a little bit. There we go. And it sounds like this. Just add beats. Sounds good. If we hear it together. Just add beats. That sounds good. And we can change the volume level of our tracks right here. So for example, if my vocal is too quiet, I can turn it up. Now it sounds like this. Just add beats. That's too loud, I can turn it down. And sometimes I'll use the looper to focus on one particular section. So see, this is off the page now, so I have to move over on the bottom here. So how about I loop this just this one little section with my vocal. Just add beats. Just add beats. Just add beats. Just add beats. Okay, so I think that level's good. But you see, you can either start with it too loud. Just add beats. And come down, or what I like to do, start with it off and then bring it up. Just add beats. Just add beats. Just add beats. There, that sounds good. Now I'm going to put my loop back. There we go. And I can make this bigger or smaller here. And the last thing we're going to add to this is something that we play ourselves. So we've already looked at adding the drum pattern with our mouse. We've looked at adding a piano track from the loops menu. Also add other things from the loops like drum loops, for example, like this drum loop. So if we wanted to add additional layers, we can. But we are going to now add a track that we play. And so if we click on play the synth, for example, we could click on it here, or you can go to add new track. If you want to play a regular piano, you can play right here. If we want to do bass and 808, we can click on bass and 808 here. I think that's what I'm going to do is I'll click on bass and 808. And it sounds like this. Okay. And I can always change the sound right here. So if I don't like this one, I can change it. Something that I might like. And what I like to do is let my beat play while I listen to different sounds. Just add beats. Okay, so I found one that I like, and I'm going to play this on a MIDI controller. So there are different ways you can play this. One, you could use the mouse and play the keys right here. Two, you can use the keyboard of your computer. So for example, if I wanted to play this E, I would have to hit the Q on my computer. If I wanted to play this F, I would have to hit the W on my computer. So you can do it this way, but it is a little confusing because the notes that you use on a piano are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So there's 7 of them, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that you use that are in the alphabet. There is no Q, W, E, R, T, Y. So if this is going to be confusing for you, if you're trying to learn the piano, I recommend using a MIDI controller like this. And this one is 25 keys. So they come in different sizes. If you already play piano and you're going to be playing at home a lot, I recommend a 49 key piano. But if you're just going to be making beats and if you're on the go, I would recommend getting a 25 key MIDI controller. And so now I can play everything on my MIDI controller. And so to set up a MIDI controller in Soundtrap, whenever you plug it in, you'll go to Settings, MIDI Settings, and then select the name of your device right here. And you can see it will say there's no signal for your device. So but when you start playing it, it'll tell you if it's working properly. So now we're getting a good signal. So I'm going to hit OK. And I can close this out now. I don't have to look at this while I'm playing with the MIDI controller, which is nice. And I can record by turning on the R for the MIDI controller. I have it turned off for the microphone because I'm not recording my voice right now. If I wanted to do my voice and the MIDI controller at the same time, I would have both of these on. But since I'm not recording my microphone, turning the mic off. So this is my bass on the bottom. And to record, I'm going to make sure that this is right here. And we hit record. Now I'm ready. Just add beats. Okay, so there's my little recording. And I can go back and change the instrument now if I want. I can change the instrument again even after I've played it. That's what's really neat. So if we listen to it with a different instrument, just add beats. Depending on what instrument we pick, it's going to sound different. So we'll go back to that original one I used. And if I don't like this, I can just click on it, delete it, and record it again. Okay, so it would be the same process of recording. You just click the little R button and hit record. And so I'm going to keep that part, and then if I wanted to add a different instrument, so for example, add a new track, and what if I go to orchestral? I'll have a string ensemble here. So I could add some strings to it. Or this, a quartet. Or a cello. So we have a lot of options on which instrument we can use. I'm going to go back to this string ensemble. I think that sounded nice. Try that. Just add beats. So I'm just going to use the beginning of what I played. Let me trim it. Need to zoom in a little bit to trim a little more. There we go. So what I played sounds like this. And I can turn it up right here. Just add beats. So you can hear my piano is too loud now. Just add beats. And now my bass is too loud because I turned my piano down. See? So now once we start adding more instruments, we have to figure out the level for all these things. Figure out the level. Just add beats. Just add beats. Yeah, I think that level sounds good for where I'm at. I'm going to name this project. It's called Untitled Song right now. But let me just change the name to something else. How about I change it to Just Add Beats? There we go. That's the name of my project. And it's saved automatically. I've added a vocal track. I added a drum track. I added a piano track. I played the bass. And I added a string part that I also played. So that's pretty good example of all the different things that you can do with these tracks if you're adding them. Next, how to remove tracks. Well, if you wanted to remove anything, first you just click it and you hit delete on your keyboard and it's gone. Okay. If I want to undo, if I accidentally delete something, I can hit the undo button here and it brings it back. To move a track, so if I wanted this bass, for example, to start at the beginning of the song, I could trim this part and move my bass to start at the beginning, and now it starts there. Just add beats. So to move a track, you just click it and drag it. And to substitute a track, we already learned that we could substitute our drums. So let's do that again. We click on the drum and we substitute the Toronto drums. Just add beats. So now I have the Vermont drums instead. It sounds like this. Just add beats. And if I wanted to substitute the this loop, this piano loop, then I would actually have to delete this loop and go back over here and look. So if I go back to piano, maybe I can find, if I type in fire rain, there's only that one. So I could look for a different piano loop, like this one. So if I did that one instead, if I add this, let me just mute this piano. You can listen to my beat with this. Just add beats. Okay, so I would probably re-record my bass line if I changed to that piano track, because I don't like my bass with this new piano. But that's an example of using the same drums with a different piano. So if we wanted to solo the drums and the original piano, it sounded like this. And if we want to solo the drums with the new piano, it sounds like this. So the choice that you make is up to you. That's your taste in music, what kind of song you're making. There's no right or wrong if I'm going to pick this piano part or this piano part. Right? It's my decision as the producer, and it's your decision too. So I'm going to stick with my original beat. So we did add, remove, move, substitute. We recorded our voices. We added our drums. The next thing we can do is share our project with somebody. So if you wanted to click the share button, you can invite a collaborator here. So for example, if I wanted to invite a friend to this, I can click invite, and I can hit the plus sign for the person I want to invite and hit invite. And then they will be able to join my project. So that's how you invite somebody to your project. It's these little people that are meeting together. This is a comments area, which we have turned off. And this is the effects area. So I recommend doing effects last because you might change your, most of the tracks already have built-in effects. But if we wanted to, for example, add something to our vocal track, we could add a distortion to our vocal. So now my voice is going to sound a little bit rougher. So let's do that. Let's add distortion. And now my vocal sounds like this. Just add. Oh, wait a second. I think I added it to the wrong track. Here we go. I wasn't sure what I did wrong, so I just hit undo, and now we're ready to go. We click on the microphone, go to effects. You can see there are all these effects already added. If I want to add another effect, I could add distortion, and it sounds like this. You can hear my voice now is really crunchy sounding. Just add beats. Without the distortion, this is the power button, power off. Sounds like this. Just add beats. With distortion. Just add beats. I can change the tone of the distortion, the amount. So this is just a little bit. Just add beats. This is a lot. Just add beats. So if I use too much, you can't hear me say just add beats. So I can change the tone. This is brighter.
Just add beats.
This is darker.
Just add beats.
You can find somewhere in the middle.
Just add beats.
And low cut, you can leave this, but low cut is cutting off really low frequencies. So like low bass in my voice, which we don't need.
Just add beats.
So there we go. I kind of like how that sounds actually. It's a little more edgy with my beat.
Just add beats.
Cool. And you can add effects to other things too. For example, if we go to our piano, let's solo the piano. What if we added an effect to our piano? So to add effects to the piano, we click add effect. And let's pick a different effect. So instead of distortion, let's use bit crusher. This one is going to make it sound like an old video game, like an old Nintendo game. I don't really like that, but this is what it sounds like with the beat. Let's try it.
Just add beats. Just add beats.
So we don't have time to go through all of the effects, but you can see there are a whole bunch of different effects here. And I would recommend just playing around with them and seeing which ones are interesting to you. So one of the ones that I like a lot is the visual EQ. And you have to click open to look at it. So let me show you how it works. If you have the piano soloed, you can pick how much of the piano you want to use. So if you want the piano to be bright, or if you want the piano to sound like it's underwater,
Just add beats.
yeah, I like the way that sounds. So you can play around with adding different effects to your instrument, and that will get you going. So let's say this project is all finished. I can share the project with my friend if I wanted to keep working on it with the invite button. If I want to download my project, I'm going to go to File, Download Mix. And it'll say, do you want to master? So mastering is the finishing stage with an audio recording. So we're taking all of these tracks that we have, which looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tracks. And we're mixing the song down to 2 tracks. And the master is going to be the finished song. So if we hit yes, and so it's mixing our song. and it's all done. And so now your song is going to end up in the download section of your browser. So it'll be called Just Add Beats. So I just found my project in my files. After you have finished recording your project, then after you finish, okay, so we finished recording our project, we've exported it, and now we can play it in a okay, so now we finished exporting our project and it's time to play the master file. You can play it, for example, I'm going to use Windows Media Player because I'm on a Windows computer. If you're on a Mac, you could play it in iTunes, and you could drag this into your Google Drive if you want and play it on your phone, or drag it right onto your phone. But let's go to the Windows Media Player and listen to our project. So you can see the name of it is Just Add Beats. Here we go.
Just add beats.
If you want to download your songs and put them in Google Drive, for example, so you have a playlist, what you can do is just go to the three dots on your project, click Download. MP3 or WAV are the two most popular ones. WAV is going to be a larger file size, higher definition. MP3 is just fine for listening on the go. It's going to be a smaller file size. We're going to use MP3. I'm going to click on MP3. It's going to ask me to save the project to my computer. I click save and it's downloaded. So now if I go to my Google Drive, I can find the file on my computer and I can drag it into Google Drive. And once the file's dragged into Google Drive, I can play it, and it sounds like this.
Just add beats.
There we go. So have fun making your own little playlists in Google Drive. All right, that's it. Thanks for learning how to make beats with me in Soundtrap. See you later.